Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast show for the average Joe, the Wrestling Diaries. I'm your host, Mitchell Roulane. This is a podcast where we get people from regular society to promote their being and tell us what they wrestle with in life, the demons and monsters they fight that are under the bed and in their closets, and how they can overcome their adversity. And there's something really magical about that. That sounds cheesy, but put it on a sandwich, right? Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public for the audio streams. Follow us, write us a review. It's very important. That's how we can get our content out there. If you believe in what we're doing, or if you just want to support us because you like us or like me or whatever, do that. And if you want to see the video content, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more content. We release once a day, or we release once a day. That's hilarious. Matt would be dead. We were doing it once a day. We release once a week, folks. Audio Tuesdays, video Wednesdays. Today I have the pleasure of meeting someone digitally, remotely for the first time, Miss Astrid Castillo from Sedona. She's all the way out in Sedona, Arizona, and that rhymes. Welcome to the Wrestling Diaries, Astrid.
Thank you so much.
I love your
pleasure
name.
And an honor to be here.
Well, yeah, pleasure's all ours.
Go ahead.
I love your name, though, Astrid. Tell me about that. I want to ask about that. This is this really cool name. I've never met anybody with that name. Makes me think of space or spirituality or both.
It's actually a story beginning with my dad. They were expecting me, and my dad was a journalist. And he chose the name in one of his trips, and the name is Scandinavian, and I am not Scandinavian, as you can see, the brown color. But he chose the name before I was even born. And then, unfortunately, he passed away when I was a child, so I don't really have a full story, except that he chose the name. It's a flower, it's something related to the stars, there's some goddess, who knows?
Yeah, it's a cool name though. Castillo. Are you of Hispanic descent or Native American? I couldn't tell.
I am. I was born in Guatemala, so I am originally Hispanic, but I also have some Asian in my blood. So I am a little bit of everything, and very well connected with the Native American spirit.
Yeah, I've got Asian in me as well. I'm biracial actually. My mother is from Vietnam, and then my grandfather's from France. Not that really matters, right? Because French people are just regular white people. Somebody told me that. I was having a conversation with an African American lady, and she was like, "You don't look all white, something else." And I was like, "Oh yeah, my mom's Asian, and then my grandfather was from France." And she was like, "Oh, that don't count. That's still white." And I was like, "Okay, that's white. True. That's still white." So, boo for being white. So you are in Sedona, Arizona. Have you lived there your whole life, or you moved out there? What's that story?
No, I am just visiting right now. I actually live in the state of Montana right now, about an hour and 15 minutes west of Yellowstone.
Oh, wow.
And I'm visiting here, but I am in the process of moving. I love Montana. I absolutely love it. But there has been a lot of changes lately, and so I'm being called to go somewhere else right now.
Okay. That's cool. I forgot to ask you, what's before I ask the question about you growing up in Arizona, what's the Asian race that you have in your bloodline? What is that?
Vietnam as well.
Ah, Vietnamese. Xin chào.
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. I love it. I like that. I love culture. I love culturally enriched people. It makes me happy. So what's changing? What's your profession? Like, why are you being called back to Montana or what have you?
So I am I've been a traveling nurse for the last 6 years, and I've been doing a lot of different assignments everywhere. I've been in Hawaii and Oregon, Washington, California. So recently in Montana, and I'm being called to go back to California again, and then Arizona. So yeah, I am a little bit of a traveler, I love to, like you mentioned before, I love the culture. I love to really immerse myself in getting to know people, and especially with what I do, because I do home health care. So when I go into the communities, I really immerse myself into the community because I go to their homes. So a lot of times they're cooking, so the smells of the food and really going inside people's homes is something that is so intimate and unique for me.
Cool. That's interesting. Now, on your title here, it says holistic nurse. So you only do holistic nurse practice, or are you actually an RN?
I am an RN, and so I do both. I work in the system as well as working with holistic practices, which is really my call. That is really what my soul calls for, is holistic nursing. And I'm big into meditation and really empowering yourself, calling on what you already have to be able to heal any condition, whether it's a physical, emotional, or any transition that we're going through in our lives, that really we have everything in our being to be able to heal ourselves.
Nice. Yeah. So you're practicing traditional healthcare with alternative healthcare. I like that. Like people are getting both ends of the spectrum from you. But you definitely look like you're more on the holistic side. You got this whole like free spirited hippie look going with you, with the hair and the outfit and the tiger in the background. Would you consider yourself a hippie, Astrid?
I don't consider myself anything really. I am just myself. I don't know. I don't necessarily like labels. I just feel like I am here for my unique purpose, and that's what I'm offering my patients and my community.
Gotcha. What else do you do besides traveling nurse stuff and also some holistic practices? Is there anything else that you do in a professional light?
I do a lot of different things. I do cacao ceremonies. So like I mentioned before, I am originally from Guatemala. So cacao for us is very sacred, and it's a big heart opener. A lot of people compare drinking cacao or drinking chocolate to a caffeine, perhaps type of rush of energy, and it's a little bit different because it's not what caffeine does to your body. Cacao is a big heart opener, and so when people feel the rush of energy, they compare it to coffee. So that used in a sacred way to basically to have people in ceremony and set an intention for drinking cacao together and opening your hearts. And then you can go into different journeys. You can go into a breath journey. You can do meditation. You can just sit there with your feelings and your thoughts and your desires and whatever else is going on in your life. So yeah, that's some of the practices that I do. I am also a sound therapist. I use crystal instruments for sound healing. I do a lot of different things, and when it comes to actively working in detoxifying the body, so I do detox programs. I also have done ozone therapy in the past. I am not currently practicing ozone therapy. But yeah, those are some of the few things that I do. Yeah.
Wow, you do all kinds of stuff and you travel so much. I'm so jealous. I see on your social media, you're always posting all these pictures of these different landscapes that you were adventuring on. And I'm like, oh man, I got to get out there. I got to get out of this damn house. I got to live more life like
Yes,
Astrid
you
here. She's
gotta
just
do
living
that.
it up. How long did you live in Guatemala for?
I was there until I was 18.
Oh, wow.
So I used to come and visit my family in the Chicago area. They were all in the Chicago area. And so as a child, I used to come and spend my time off school in Chicago.
Yeah.
But then at 18, I decided to just venture myself into the Wendy's city. And I had attended to a bilingual school in Guatemala. And so I had a lot of the basics on grammar, and I didn't have the verbal skills. So yeah, it was interesting. I came from a small town to a big city and just like, boom, okay, let's do it.
Nice. Yeah, me and Matt have a friend from Guatemala. He was raised on a farm. Strong boy. Strong guy. It's tough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Used to wrestle. Well, that's really cool. So you moved from, you said you lived there till you were 18, and then obviously you
Yes.
moved to the States, and that was Chicago for school and stuff, you were saying? And how long were you in Illinois for?
Oh gosh, I was in Illinois for about 20 years, so a
Oh,
little
wow.
more than 20 years before I started doing traveling nursing.
Okay.
All my family's still there. Yeah, it's great. But yeah, I decided to go and explore, and I absolutely love the mountains because I was born around mountains.
Hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons why Montana is so appealing to me, because of all the mountains. But yeah, and every time I have an opportunity to get out there, it's just the way I connect to my roots. I was raised Catholic, and going to church was a thing, like every Sunday or so.
Hmm.
And I was in my 20s. I decided not to participate in any type of religious practices anymore. And to me, going to the big space and to nature, that is my church. And
Okay.
that is where I find my happiness. And so, yeah.
Nice. When did you come across that discovery that traditional organized religion wasn't for you?
I think I was 22, perhaps 23.
Hmm. So you're a
Um,
young lady.
but I had always, yeah, say that again. Did you say something?
Oh, I said. Oh, so you discovered that when you were a young lady, really young, like a baby.
Yes. I had always had this thoughts and this questions about religion when I used to
Hmm.
go to church with my family, that a lot of things didn't make any sense for me.
Yeah.
And I always questioned things, and of course my mom used to be like, "Mija, you don't ask those questions.
Oh no,
You
the classic one.
just go to church." And yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just go to church, smile, and nod your head. I love it.
Right. And so yeah, when I was in my 20s, I just decided that it wasn't a good practice for me. I didn't feel, for whatever reason, I didn't feel very safe
Yeah.
in my body when I went to church. And so yeah, so I decided to start exploring other philosophies, and one thing led me to another, and I became a very active meditator. I meditate at least an hour and a half every morning, and that has been absolutely life-changing for me.
What do you think?
So because of go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Because of what I do as a nurse, has been interesting for me to immerse myself in those type of philosophies, because I have had physical conditions that perhaps the medical community haven't had a clear answer or explanation for what certain conditions have happened in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And through meditation and small lifestyle modifications, I've been able to heal several conditions. And so to me, that is so interesting. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because really where we are right now in our level of evolution, it's really not enough to just go with whatever answers the medical community or the Western medical system is going to give you, because there are so many other ways that you can heal your body and you can empower yourself. And that is really my true passion.
Yeah, I'm a very firm believer that that body is adaptable, and the body absolutely has this mode to where it absolutely can self heal. The only thing is like you have to find like that through your environment and through healthy living, eating, drinking lots of water, getting outside, moving. All that stuff's really important. Pure, like really good oxygen outside, like and if you stick with a consistent basis of healthy living, like your body, I mean, I feel like it could heal just about anything. Like the body is a very, like people don't give it enough credit, but like it is definitely has the power to like self heal. And I'm not saying this from like a spiritual philosophical point. I'm saying it from like even just scientific. I used to work I used to be the office manager for a doctor, and he did holistic alternative healthcare practices, and he also did traditional medicine. Like we did blood work, and we did traditional medicines and stuff like that. And he also did food nutrition, food science, and food medicine, and active lifestyle stuff. And he put together health programs. And I saw this. I saw people like literally come in who would, for example, they would have like type 2 diabetes, and they would do this program, and they change the way they lived, the way they ate, the way they moved. And some of them, not all of them, they would, like after their program was over, like they could not be diagnosed. Like if they went to a medical office, they could not be diagnosed with like diabetes anymore. And that's crazy to think about. I mean, you can't make those statements though, right? Like the FDA will come after you or something. But yeah, what happened is they changed the way their biology was moving, and their body started to self-heal. It started to heal itself. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I absolutely believe that wholeheartedly. Can I ask you, what were the health issues that you were dealing with? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So very interesting. I was going through a big transition in my life, and I was going through a lot of stress and a big depression in my life. About 6 or 7 months, just deep into this depression, where I was only able to go to work and barely function. So, of course, I got prescribed Lexapro, an antidepressant, and I tried it for about a month or so, but it was making me feel very weird. I felt like I was floating, and I didn't feel like I was in my body. And so I decided not to take it anymore, but because I know the way antidepressants work, I didn't cut it abruptly. So I cut those pills in half, then in 4 pieces. Then I stopped taking them all along. But a form of acne developed in my skin, in my face, my chest, my back. And I started seeing a dermatologist every couple weeks or so, and not finding any solutions, and buying all kinds of products that was making my skin really almost like leather, really hard and very red. It was burning my skin. So I was getting very frustrated with it, and still dealing with the depression. So out of nowhere, one day that I went to see the dermatologist, Peter, the physician's assistant, was talking to me about some random things. And he said he had visited Napa Valley, and he was drinking a lot of red wine, and all of a sudden his skin broke out in acne. And when he said that, something struck me, and I asked him, and so I said, Peter, how come you and I have never had the conversation about what my dietary or daily habits are? And when I asked that question, he didn't have an answer for me. He had nothing to say. So I said, okay, this is just not working for me. I am gonna do whatever I need to do to heal my condition, and I am not coming back to see you again. So I left the office and I started doing enormous amounts of research. Every 10-minute free time, every break I had at work, I wasn't watching TV, not doing much, but researching enormous amounts of holistic healing. And it all led me to change just a few things in my diet. Like you mentioned before, drinking water. So I started drinking alkaline water. I cut out red meat. I cut out sugars. And of course, alcohol and dairy. So cutting out those 5 things, but I also added meditation. Within 1 month, I noticed a huge improvement. 1 month. And I had been in treatment for maybe a year and a half, and I had not noticed any improvement. So when I noticed the improvement, I said, I am onto something here. So I'm going to continue doing this research. And this is at the very, very early stages of my nursing career. And that led me to a whole bunch of other discoveries. And then all of a sudden led me to meet people that guided me in healing a lot of the emotional trauma that I was carrying within myself. And that was one of the conditions I have healed, acne, and I have healed other conditions as well.
Okay. How do you feel about marijuana? CBD, THC. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel it's a beautiful medicine. I think it really has beautiful properties, especially for, in my case, it's interesting that you mention it because I was a late bloomer. I was never, as a teenager, was not around cannabis. None of my friends used cannabis, so I didn't have the opportunity to be around cannabis when I was a teenager. But when I had those issues with depression, a friend of mine, actually a nurse colleague, mentioned that to me, and he said, "Ma, you might want to try it out." And I started very low doses of cannabis, and that helped me tremendously to get through that big hump. I feel it's beautiful medicine, but just like anything else, if we use anything, and it could be anything, as a crutch to heal our conditions, then we're falling for a trap. So I feel like if we use cannabis, like a lot of other beautiful plant medicines, to help us get through a crisis, and then find ourselves in a place where we can find the power within ourselves, and then don't rely on cannabis or any other plant medicine or any other medication, that we can actually continue our journey, and perhaps those beautiful plants have help us get through a place where we can find the strength to pull through. But yeah, I think it's beautiful medicine. Yes.
Nice. What about recreationally, though? You're talking about it for medicinal things. What about people that just want to, sit around, have a couple edibles with their pals, and watch Netflix? How do you feel about that? Just hanging out, or going to, like, if they have like those, I don't know, pot bars. I don't know if they have those in California, or not California. They might have them in California. What do you feel about recreationally?
I feel it's whatever people choose to do.
What do you choose to do, Astrid?
I don't choose to do. I am actually 100% sober. I don't drink alcohol. I don't.
Not even like every once in a while, like if you're going out or something.
Not right now, no. Right now, I am completely sober, 100% sober. But
Okay.
it's, whatever people choose to do. And, I would most likely be inclined to say, yeah, eat an edible, rather than having a whole bunch of poison with alcohol in your body.
Yeah.
So I would prefer that rather than alcohol. Yes.
Okay. So Astrid is more pro cannabis than alcohol, ladies and gentlemen. I agree with you. It's definitely more of a healthy version of something to do in that sense. But like you said earlier, anything in excess can be too bad. I know people that absolute potheads, and their life is just, oh, they just sit there. They're not moving. They just become this slug, you know. And so I'm just like, I mean, these people aren't doing anything. They're just sitting on their couch eating potato chips, getting fat, hanging out. they're not exercising. They're not doing anything. Just smoking pot, eating nachos.
Right.
Which, hey, if you want to do that, go ahead. But you're not going to feel as good.
Yeah.
You might not live as long. Also.
Yes, exactly. That's whatever people choose. But it's like we're finding excuses for our behavior. And if we're using that medicine or any other medicine to just have another excuse for not doing what we're supposed to be doing, and what will get us not only for ourselves but for our other fellow humans to contribute. Because what is the contribution just to sit there and do absolutely nothing? But I'm not judging. Everyone, it's choosing whatever they need to do to get them through whatever areas. But yeah, I choose to be sober because I don't necessarily think I hit a place in my life where I was an alcoholic, but I definitely was heading in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I was using alcohol to help me cope with stress. And that I noticed that one glass of wine wasn't enough. And so I was drinking two. And then those two glasses of wine wasn't enough. And so, yeah, I noticed myself heading into a very interesting direction. And so I said, no, that's not what I want to do with my life. I want to be in contribution. And besides that, in my spiritual practices, when you use specifically alcohol, it's like your field, energetic field, has these cracks because your judgment it gets diminished. So then your energetic field has cracks, and then entities get in. And you can see that, and you don't have to call it entities if the spiritual practices are not within your realm. But people's personalities change rather quickly, and so that's when the entities get attached to you. And yeah, so
that's
so
why they call
rather
alcohol spirits, right?
Yeah.
Is that the correlation?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
So, yeah, maybe. So yeah, I'd rather be sober, and so then we don't use those excuses again, because a lot of people, act in interesting ways, and then they say, "Well, I was drunk. I don't remember. It was all the alcohol." And so yeah, we're using those excuses again. So yeah, I choose not to.
Well, that's
use
good.
those excuses.
Here's the thing. I tip my hat to you. I tip my glass to your sobriety. I think that's awesome. If that's what you want to do, and if if that's how you feel like you're living the best life that you can live, then do that, man. Whatever makes you feel good, as long as it's not hurting someone else,
Absolutely.
that's what you should do in
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about this
Yeah.
meditation, though. Why is what's the deal with meditation? Why is it healthy? What do you get out of it? What's the what's the benefits from doing meditation? Take me through that.
So meditation and my early practices, I learned meditation from Amma from Amrita Puri. She's one of the gurus from India.
Okay.
And I learned her meditation technique, and through that, I started accessing or noticing certain abilities that I had within myself. And this is years ago. This is probably 10 years ago or so. And from that, I built onto having my own practice and meditation. And about 2 years ago or so, maybe a little more than that, I became across the teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And because I am a nurse, and I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joe, but because I am a nurse and he is a doctor, and all his research has demonstrated that 4 days of meditation, you can increase your IgA levels. With the IgA is what you have in your mucous membranes to protect you from viruses, bacteria, any pathogens that are trying to invade your system. So IgA is basically our natural flu shot. So 4 days of meditation, you can increase your IgA levels by 50%. So can you imagine if you continue to have a regular meditation practice, what you can do for your physical body? We're talking about the physical body. But what you can do to your emotional body, what you can do for your relationships with other individuals, what you can do to have clarity in whatever perhaps your purpose is in life and what you're here to do. So meditation for me is, my goodness, it's my go-to in every moment that I really feel like I am either exhausted, sick, emotionally drained, in pain. I mean, anything. I know I have meditation, and it's it's my love. It's absolutely my love, and it's a space where I can be by myself, and I can also find myself. That's
Okay, cool.
That's my love.
I want when we're done with this, I want you to send one of your meditation practices to me, if you would do that, because I want to see what it is. I want to try it out, see if it works for me.
Sure.
See if it'll help heal me.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Make me less of an asshole.
Yeah.
Matt's like, no, that's impossible. There's nothing you can do to be less of an asshole, Mitchell. Oh man.
No.
So
yeah, I'll send you a sound healing. With,
oh yeah, please do.
My significant other, he's a sound alchemist. He has the gongs. He plays the gongs and lots of other instruments. And he is actually originally from Chicago. So him and I met in Sedona, which is so interesting because I lived in the Chicago area and he lived in the Chicago area, and we had never met. But of course, we were on different journeys at the time. And it's really to work in your brain waves, because when we're, what all this work do is work in your nervous system. So when you're running in a really high stress level, you're running on high beta brainwave pattern. And what these meditations and sound do is that start decompressing the nervous system. So then you can go into the other brainwave patterns, and you go into theta, and you go into delta, and And then when you're into this other brainwave patterns, you have other experiences that some people may call in mystical experiences. And you can also be in a space where you are very, your brain is very active, but your body is basically numb. It's like you're laying there, but you're not there. And some other times you have a lot of clarity, perhaps in questions you had about your experiences. So yeah, that's what the sound and meditations part of it. That's what it do. It works in the subconscious, and also to get rid of those programs that we have. All those self-sabotage, self-limiting beliefs, and disempowering programs that we have that keep us stuck where we tend to play a role of victim or negative consciousness. And so yeah, so it definitely it's it's free power. It's
Yeah,
better
I agree.
than
For
any
psychological health, there's a lot of things that people don't put into play, especially now in this day and age. You know, medical technology is advancing. We're getting better medicine and better understanding of the human body and health and all this stuff. But one thing that's increasing is mental and psychological health issues because people are they're so just integrated with technology right now, and they become depressed, and then they get programmed, like you said, by all of these things, media and TV and internet. And yeah, there's a lot of psychological disease out there. So that's something that somebody definitely should address. And there needs to be more books written about it and more programs to help people. In the future, I tell you, like people dealing with psychological health, that's going to be one of the next big like medical markets. People are going to be looking for psychologists and psychiatrists just for their mental health, because that's what we're going into right now. I see it all the time, and it's tragic. So it's good that
it
you have these
already
practices.
is.
Yeah, it is. It's great that you do these practices, and it's also best that you spread that message to people so people can become aware of it, because it's a thing. It's a big deal that should be addressed. So yeah, I think you're moving in the right direction. Astrid, you do a lot of cool things. You're a traveling nurse, and you do holistic practices and your meditations and understanding mental health, psychological health, and stuff like that. But what are the things now that what's your psychological diseases that you deal with? What are the things that you personally at the moment that you wrestle with, that you are trying to overcome? And it might not be psychological. It might be. Most people's are. But it might be physical health. I've had people deal with a lot of things they wrestle with like that. I had a guy on here with type 1 diabetes, and that's something he wrestles with every day. What is something that you wrestle with right now, and how are you trying to overcome that adversity?
Yes. About 2 months ago, I felt like I was going back to somewhere in 2012, 2013, when I was dealing with that big depression in my life. So I became depressed again, but this time around it only lasted about a week. But it was super deep, like it was very deep depression. And back when I was suffering from depression years ago, I didn't have these tools. I call them tools, like the meditation and the sound and all of this. I didn't have these tools to help me out. So this time around, I became very, very depressed. And one night I was laying in my bed, and I was talking to the higher power, and I said, well, it seems like my mission is done here. I don't see much of a purpose right now in my life. And I said, I don't mind if you take me out of the game. I am ready. So yeah, I was laying in my bed, having a conversation with the higher power, and asking him if this was said for me, that I was okay with being out of the game, and then I drifted into sleep, and I woke up the following day, and when I woke up, I said, well, I guess I'm still in the game. And I laughed about it. And so what I noticed is that this time around with this depression that I went through, it only lasted a few days. And but the pain was very, very intense. And what I am noticing at the hospital that I work at in Montana is that we're getting so many people with depression, and younger and younger and younger people, 9-year-olds with issues with deep, deep, deep depression and suicidal ideation and substance abuse. And we're getting so many people with those issues. So what you're saying about how this is going to be, it already is a huge need for people that are calling out for help, for people that they feel like they don't have any capabilities of getting out of this really traumatic, what COVID has done to many of us. It has caused so much trauma that, a lot of people right now that were barely getting out and started socializing again, we're finding ourselves that we're not capable of doing certain things. And it's really, really sad. And it's a really big call for people that are perhaps ready to assist all these individuals. I actually am working on a program, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be working in the Napa Valley for 5 weeks, and then I'm coming back to Sedona, and I am launching my program, and it's going to be a one-on-one for a week. Mm-hmm. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and all I have experienced that in my life. So it's something that I can offer because I know what it is. I know how it feels. So I'm going to spend 1 week with either an individual or a couple, if there's a couple that would like to work together with this. And I'm going to offer the meditation assistance, sound, possibly plant medicine. And we're also going to be working with detoxifying the body. So it's going to be, we're going to be doing outdoor activities, hiking, sightseeing, ceremony, cacao ceremonies. So it's a program that I was called to start offering to people. This came to me about 10 days ago in one of my meditations. And I think it's just time that we find venues, and the psychiatric ways of seeing things perhaps is not the greatest solution right now. Mm-hmm. And so, that's what I'm going to offer, because I guess that was one of the reasons why I went through this depression a couple of months ago, to show me again how deep and how dark this place could be, so I could be of help and provide the assistance that people need.
That's fantastic. And also, I feel like this happens because if you're dealing with depression yourself, but then you're coming up with a program to help other people, in doing that, you're helping other people, which is wonderful, obviously, because you're helping other people deal with their issues and get healthier, but it also helps you get healthier. Every time I've ever heard of a teacher or an educator or an instructor or a coach, and whatever there is they're teaching and they're trying to help someone else teach as a student, they become better in their own practice, whatever it is, and they increase in success and health and liveliness. And so that's a really good thing. And I feel like it's a double whammy for you, because like you can help people heal and also heal yourself. And then it teaches you a lot about yourself and what wrestling with your own personal demons. And that's good. So yeah, I tip my hat off to you for that. That sounds wonderful, Astrid. So
thank you.
Yeah, I just keep going. People, there needs to be more people like you out there, and you need to keep doing what you're doing. And just keep figuring out. And in finality, I'll ask you this in closing.
Mhm.
You have a telescope or maybe a pair of binoculars that are magical, right? And they see into the future, and you see yourself as this little image of this sitcom of yourself. What does your life look like in the future? What do you want it to look like, and how do you feel?
Offering my service to my communities, offering help to individuals that need it. Perhaps have a small retreat center where people can come and feel safe. That's huge. In whatever area you're dealing with, physical, emotional, um, safety is huge for me. In my experience, and I know that for everybody else, it's the same, where people can feel safe. And offering really lots of sound, lots of music. I love music. I love dancing, and so that's what I see in my future. That's what I already see in my present. Is that offering the service that I'm here to offer, and in a way that is fun, that is not this tedious thing to do every day,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're hesitating about doing something fun, because life is fun. Life is music. Life is sound. Life is food. It's colorful and
Yeah, fellowship.
yeah, yes.
That's
So
beautiful.
thank you.
Mwah. Perfect. So before I sign off, let me get you to go ahead and plug in anything you're doing, your career, your business, what you have going on in the future. You look into your camera and tell people that are listening how they can get a hold of you and the things that you have planned for the future of how you're helping people.
So basically, yes, I'm working on this program that I mentioned before, and you can reach me on Facebook at Astrid Starseed RN, and also on Instagram at Holistic Nurse Astrid. And just send me a message. I have tons and tons and tons of free resources. But one thing that is very important is when people are committed to do the work, because the work, I'm not here. I'm not here to heal people. I am not a healer. I am not one of those that will tell you lay down and I am going to heal you, because where we are in the state of evolution in our planet, things have shifted. And so now we're being conduits to show you how you can do the work, how you're going to take accountability for your own actions, and you're going to do the work. So if you're ready to be accountable, if you're ready to change your life, get a hold of me, and I'll be more than happy to work with you. Sending you all my love and all my blessings.
Excellent. Perfect. Hey, tell your when you get done with this, tell your lover that I said two things. Go Cubs. Go Cubbies. Thank you so much for being on this episode. It was really lovely to meet you. Thank you for being interested in coming on my show and talking about your life and the things you wrestle with. I really appreciate it, Astrid. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Ladies
much.
and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Wrestling Diaries. We had Astrid Castillo on here, registered nurse, travels around. She's trying to help people. She, like me, sees the growing pain and turmoil and health issues with psychological and emotional issues that are plaguing, especially our young people in society today. And she's trying to fight it, and that's really great. And what does that mean to you? What do you think about your own mental health? You ever sat back to think about that? Like, you might be super healthy and stuff. You might eat well and drink lots of water and have all those organic USDA organic foods in your body. But what about your mental and emotional health? Because sometimes if that's unhealthy, it all trickles down and it can just tumble the whole organism. So think about that. I think that's a really important question. It really is. It's not just me talking out of my ass. It's a growing thing. It's terrible. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you were educated in some things if you weren't before. And check us out again. We do this once a week. Check us out on our audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and you can see the video content on YouTube. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more content. We release once a week. Write us a review, spread the messages out there about people in society that are trying to become a better person or help other people become better people or help other people become better people and become a better person themselves. It's all inclusive. It's all relative. Tell me, what do you wrestle with and how can you beat it? One love.